How do I still seem light on my feet when like the whole costume is soaked up 30 pounds of my sweat?
Number 10. Sarah Jessica Parker has witchcraft in her blood. Hocus Pocus.
This has changed the lens that I see these times through completely. It becomes personal.
If you've seen this Halloween classic, you'll know that the Sanderson sisters are witches who were executed during the Salem trials. But did you know that Sarah Jessica Parker has familial ties to a real accused witch?
This is terribly uncomfortable.
Parker, who plays Sarah Sanderson, went on the genealogy-based show Who Do You Think You Are? And learned that her 10th great-grandmother was arrested for various, quote, acts of witchcraft. This included allegedly causing the death of one of her neighbors.
She said, I see the specters of these three women pressing Mary Fitch, and then Mary Fitch dies. She's not actually seeing these people. She's seeing the specters of these three women.
It seems that some of that penchant for witchiness was passed down, albeit in a less extreme way. Apparently, Parker really did eat a spider in the scene where Sarah does the same in Hocus Pocus. Number 9. Tom and Huck survived the Alabama wilderness. Tom and Huck.
What you doing here?
Looking for jackasses.
Under a bridge?
I found one, didn't I?
For the kids who grew up with it, Tom and Huck is a cherished childhood classic. But for the cast and crew, it's likely just a reminder of the unpredictable Alabama conditions in which they filmed.
You didn't kill me, boy. Big mistake.
Rumor has it that the team dealt with everything from invasive bugs to mulch that caused health problems. This was in addition to the state's already stuffy heat and frequent thunderstorms. Luckily, the movie came together beautifully nonetheless, with the temperamental environment only helping to add a sense of realism to the adventure story.
When a friend's in trouble, you can't run away.
Number 8. The Turtles' claustrophobic costumes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The feeling of being in those costumes has to be such a mental strain. I think I'd get pretty cranky if I were in one of those all day.
At the time they were made, the suits for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a marvel, created in part by beloved Muppeteer Jim Henson. Unfortunately for the actors, that advanced tech was tightly crammed into those turtle suits, causing the costumes to weigh 48 pounds. Hours on set were grueling, with Josh Pais explaining that he and the other actors often got claustrophobic. Seeing and breathing wasn't a given, and Pais said it felt like his, quote, blood was boiling.
How do I still seem light on my feet when like the whole costume is soaked up 30 pounds of my sweat?
Things were no easier for the Creature Shop creatives animating the costumes, with airplane radio waves occasionally causing the suit parts to behave wildly. It's a wonder the movie made it to theaters, but we're definitely glad it did. Number 7. Mike Myers' headbanging headaches. Wayne's World. The Bohemian Rhapsody scene in Wayne's World is often cited as fans' favorite moment of the movie.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening.
But the iconic segment was reportedly derided by its stars during the shoot. During an interview celebrating the film's 25th anniversary, director Penelope Spheris claimed that the actors complained about the headbanging required of them. It caused literal headaches for Mike Myers.
Dana and I talked about 5 days ago about our necks still hurt from bum 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 bum.
And both stars questioned why so many takes were necessary because they didn't find it funny. The movie's final cut caused further tension between Spheris and Myers, with the feud eventually leading to a different director being chosen to handle the sequel.
You really pissed me off tonight.
Garth, you've never been mad at anything in your life.
Number 6. Roald Dahl's grimmer ending. The Witches.
How long do mice live, Grandma? I hope we have time to take on those American witches.
At the end of The Witches, Luke, who was turned into a mouse by a coven of child-hating witches, is turned human again by Miss Irvine. It's a happy, fairy tale ending, befitting of the movie's overall tone. Unfortunately, it was one that author Roald Dahl reportedly didn't agree with. In Dahl's original novel, the boy remains a mouse at the end of the story, and it's even stated that he likely has 9 years to live.
I'll be a very old mouse and you'll be a very old grandmother, and we'll both die together.
Realistically, even this is a fantastical estimate for a rodent lifespan, as most pet mice only live to about 3 years old.
You're no ordinary mouse. You're a mouse person, and a mouse person will almost certainly live 3 times longer than an ordinary mouse, maybe even longer.
The kinder ending, as well as a few other major character changes, definitely gave the movie a different overall tone. Number 5. Macaulay Culkin's unique on-set injury, Home Alone. Imagine that you're a 9-year-old playing the lead role in a blockbuster film and an adult man bites you.
Come on, let's get you home.
Now imagine that adult man is acting legend Joe Pesci. This is what Macaulay Culkin says happened to him on the set of Home Alone. When rehearsing for the scene in which Harry and Marv catch Kevin and pin him to the door, Pesci bit Culkin's finger after saying this line.
First thing I'm gonna do is bite off every one of these little fingers, one at a time.
And it wasn't a little bite either. It gave Culkin a scar that lasted into adulthood. The actor laughed about the experience on Conan, but said he was angered when it actually happened. He couldn't believe anyone would actually bite a kid.
I was like, I don't care how many Oscars you have or whatever. Like, what are you biting a 9-year-old? What the heck's wrong with you?
Number 4. The Imposter Woody, Toy Story franchise. When it was announced that Chris Evans would be voicing Buzz Lightyear in Lightyear, fans, who were also confused by the film's concept, were outraged.
Commander Hawthorne, you know how I feel about rookies.
They struggled to accept that anyone other than Tim Allen would be voicing their favorite Space Ranger. Ironically, Buzz's cowboy friend has been voiced by an actor other than Tom Hanks for quite a while now. In the extended Toy Story universe, that is. We're talking about some shorts like Lamp Life, as well as video games and Disney park attractions.
Howdy, partners! Climb aboard!
In those, Woody is actually voiced by Tom Hanks' brother, Jim. The two have a similar enough voice that people rarely notice.
You listen to this.
Ha-ha! Boy, am I glad to see you!
Is that you?
No, it's my brother Jim.
Number 3. The Whale Behind Willie, Free Willy.
The t-shirts, stuffed toys, the puppets. Fans just can't get enough, and they especially can't wait to see Keiko.
Most kids don't give a second thought to the living conditions of Free Willy's animal star, but the topic was a hot-button issue when the film was released in 1993. The whale behind Willy, Keiko, lived in a tank that was too small and too warm, which was detrimental to his health. The popularity of Free Willy thankfully led to him being moved and rehabilitated.
And in the light of day, you can see his flattened dorsal fin and the lesions on his flippers. Doctors say this will all improve in Keiko's new home that's 5 times bigger and 20 degrees cooler than the one he left behind in Mexico.
He was eventually set free like his on-screen character, but sadly ended up dying as a result in 2003. After a lifetime of living in captivity, he was unable to adapt to the change in environment.
And those who cared for him over the years say they are saddened by his death, but say his story will remain one that will inspire people for years to come.
Number 2. The True Story of Pocahontas, Pocahontas.
She's an Indian girl and she meets this boy and they get married.
With the advent of Disney Plus, Disney began adding warnings before some of their classic films, noting their harmful use of cultural stereotypes. Although films like Peter Pan are accounted for, some have questioned the lack of warnings on many of the studio's more modern offerings. One such film is Pocahontas, which took extreme liberties with the true story it drew upon.
Pocahontas, that tree is talking to me.
Then you should talk back.
In real life, the woman nicknamed Pocahontas was a preteen, not a young adult, when colonizers invaded her homeland. She also likely never had a romance with John Smith, and it's been theorized that the marriage she did have to John Rolfe was forced upon her. Disney reportedly declined a meeting with the Powhatan Lenape Nation during production, which makes the inaccuracies feel extra unsettling.
We'll build roads and decent houses and...
Our houses are fine.
You think that, only because you don't know any better.
Number 1. The tragic death of Judith Barcy, The Land Before Time.
Hello. I said hello.
The success of The Land Before Time resulted in 13 straight-to-video sequels, beginning with The Great Valley Adventure. It would also spawn a popular TV show and a series of video games. But the movie's legacy is marked by something much sadder. The young Judith Barcy, who played Ducky, was tragically killed by her own father in July 1988, before The Land Before Time was released. She and her mother, who was murdered on the same night, were buried next to each other. Both gravestones are engraved with Barcy's catchphrase from the much-beloved film.
Yep, yep, yep.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.